On today's DNVR Buffs Live, a little bit of a stock up report, but the names that the nation could come to know this season for Coach Prime and the Buffs. A couple of quarterbacks named to be starters this season in the Big 12, the All-American team, some rule changes, and then an update on the Pro Buffs and much, much more. Let's go.
Andiamo!
He's back.
That's right. We're
That's what
here.
that sound means. Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. It is DNVR Buffs Live.
Yes.
With my good friend, Andre Simone.
Yeah, Jake, you had quite the eventful weekend. Fun stuff, huh?
That's one way to put it.
Arcade's gone again. Man, we've got so much to catch up. And he had quite the showing at the Friday scrimmage as well.
Yep.
Incredible.
And big news coming out today about what RK's been doing as well on the All-City side.
That's right. We don't have to keep it as quiet because we had that whole big article out. Yeah, good day, good time to be at the NVR.
Yep.
Always.
And I know we've got a lot of Texas, a lot of Dallas viewers in the chat as well.
Right.
And
get with it.
All-City next week. We're coming.
Catch a vibe. Yep.
Dallas, get ready. A lot to get into today with the Buffs, though, Dre.
So much.
Still kind of buzzing after that Friday practice/scrimmage. And then you dug into the videos of what happened on Friday and were able to kind of see for yourself a bit of what happened.
That's right.
Before we get into, like players who could surprise the nation, what were your main takeaways from what you saw from Friday?
I mean, it feels so redundant, but the depth at wide receiver is just silly.
It's impressive.
Silly. And I was so surprised by the run game, Jake. Did not expect that. And of course, I highlight two offensive things. I think my other takeaway is how good the defense looked. At times kind of overpowering,
Oh, yeah.
But then the offense shows those kind of good stints as well. And then maybe a final off-the-cuff takeaway. Just this year, the ones, the twos, even the threes, and I know the threes, especially on offense, maybe the impressions can be altered because a lot of the starters are still on the field for the O-line. But just you can tell how much more competent and competitive the depth in this roster is, first, second, third team. Even the backup quarterbacks, I thought, showed well and impressed me. So, overall, lots of positives that I came away with, yeah.
I love it. Again, we talked about it all on Friday when RK and T-Cal were here, but it just looks so much better. Everything looks so much better. There's a legitimate pass rush. The receivers, as you mentioned, they just keep going. They just keep making plays.
It's nuts.
Pass pro did look a lot better, especially in that red zone period, as you pointed out.
Yep.
And, man, just the running game, too. Like, I feel like that was an underrated aspect from Friday that we touched on it on Friday, but, there were some concerns, I think, about the offensive line after Friday's practice, but they were just breaking off 10-plus yard runs constantly, like moving the chains, like, that is massive for this offense. If you can get a first, second down run to move the chains,
100%.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it really showed. And then a pretty nice stable of backs.
Mm-hmm.
pretty nice. And yeah, big seat. While he wouldn't be someone I'd highlight or a surprise breakout candidate, I keep seeing a lot of positives. He was a guy who stood out for me in pass pro, in the red zone drill especially. And yeah, I'm just seeing more and more good things. So that's encouraging as well.
I like that comment from Dave that says depth is even more wild considering Trav didn't play. And I think that's a good point. Like, Trav didn't play, so it gave a lot of people, more opportunities to go out there and make plays on Friday. We saw Isaiah Harge, obviously in that gray jersey now, but he was on both second teams, offense and defense, kind of doing what Travis was doing, but on the second team, obviously. We saw many of the wide receivers get a chance. We'll get to a few of them here in a second as well.
They rotated through a lot of guys.
Yep, and the corners as well. I think we saw a lot of the cornerback depth on display, especially those top 4 guys.
Yeah,
or top 3,
sure.
I guess, without Travis. But
yeah, DJ was in a lot of the plays that you saw in well off.
Yep,
good and bad. So I mean, all good. They're highlights, but some defensive highlights, some offensive.
Yep, and as Cam said right there, on 3 had Jordan Seaton as a freshman All-American. So
yeah.
I mean, the expectations are clear.
Oh, no doubt. I mean,
he's starting to live up to them. We know it's going to be, he's a freshman. There's going to be some bumps and stuff, but it's very encouraging.
I mean, you're a starting left tackle for a Power 4 team with a legit Heisman candidate at quarterback. It's a lot of pressure. It's as tough a transition for an 18-year-old true freshman to make. So, I mean, I say that knowing full well that the context he has put in is is one that's would be tough for anyone to adjust, no matter the pedigree, no matter the talent.
Yep. All right, then. Let's get into it. A little bit of a stock-up update, but really it's kind of players who we saw making plays on Friday who the nation really doesn't know about that could become household names and the nation could really start talking about this season.
100%.
Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You start us off.
Well, then I'm going to start with the guy on the thumbnail, one of them at least, and that's Omarion Miller. Just going back and rewatching a lot of what happened on Friday. Yeah. Staub is looking for him almost every play. Like, that's his go-to guy, and he's going up making plays along the sideline. We didn't quite see the explosiveness that we saw against USC in terms of, like, big playmaking ability, but the guy is really rounding himself into one of the better wide receivers on this roster, and shoot, man, we've got like a clear starting 4 at wide receiver, and Omarion's not really in there right now, but he's going to get so much run this year, I think.
Yeah, just a volume of highlights I was seeing on Well Off. It's just Omarion. And a lot of them against, the 1s or the 2s at corner.
Yep.
He was not. And, a lot of it's just using his size, going up to get those tough catches, making those highlight grabs. That's an area he really stands out in, is not just his size, but kind of the acrobatic catches he can consistently come down with. Yeah, you didn't see as much about the separation. I'd have to go back and rewatch, but the USC game, a lot of that's coming on yak opportunities too,
it is.
Right?
Yep.
So that's less so than the separation. The athleticism I want to see more from Miller is maybe in those yak opportunities, which in a scrimmage can be tough, whistles are going early or what have you, but like he was tippy top of the list for me. And he's easy to forget with all the guys, Will Shepard's making plays and Jimmy's looking good and so on and so forth. Some other guys we'll touch on, but then Omarion was there time and time again.
Yep.
Am I saying his first name right?
Omarion.
Omarion.
Now you've got me. Omarion Miller, yes.
Is that for sure, Alyssa?
Yes.
Do we call Rhino?
Who are you going to throw out there as a name that could become a household name this season?
I'll stay at wide receiver, go Terrell Timmons.
Love it.
Who also had some highlight grabs. Love me a wide receiver with a number in the 80s. Mm-hmm. I'm going countercultural now, right? It's too many single digits. I love a good 80s number once in a while. He plays like that kind of wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
Like a guy who can run routes, use his body well, go up and make tough catches. Kind of looks like a vet in that group. He gives you somewhat Will Shepard vibes, like just more of a finished product, a guy who comes to you with some polish. He's catching a lot of balls from Shador, right? Just really look like a pro. I think a valuable valuable weapon in this receiving mix. And I mean, what do you like? Where does he stack up in this wide receiver room?
Well, he's rotating in with the ones, and last week we talked to Jason Phillips, the wide receivers coach, and he says his first team rotation is about 6 to 8 guys deep. Terrell's definitely in the he's definitely in top 8, but I think he's in the top 6 as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I saw some comments about how he stood out. You obviously got the live view, so that matches up with what I'm seeing on Well Off. And stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, just the fact that he's rotating in with the ones, but Shador's targeting him too. He's looking for him. And, at NC State, he was kind of more of a deep threat. He really only had one game where he really popped out there. But he's got, pro pedigree. He's Keenan Allen's cousin.
Right.
And in the spring, I think he was battling through some injuries and stuff. We didn't hear anything really about Terrell Timmons in the spring, but he's really come on nicely in fall camp. So, he's been really impressing in terms of, just being a well-rounded all-around wide receiver, working short to intermediate. His route running looks nice. As you mentioned, he's going to go up and attack the football as well. And we really haven't seen what he was good at NC State, which was his speed and his deep threat ability. Like, that hasn't even been a factor yet.
Right. Though you can see some explosiveness in just going up to get the ball, or like how sharp his routes and cuts are. Inside, outside guy?
I think he could do that, yeah.
Okay. Okay. No, I mean, really impressed by him. Kind of an under-the-radar weapon who I think could pay huge dividends in the season. Just because, there's plenty of guys to generate big plays in this offense.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need a guy to get open for 7 yards on 3rd and 6, right?
Yep,
and
exactly.
he strikes me as that kind of dude. So, really like that. Yeah.
I'll throw out next guy, DJ McKinney at cornerback. Coach Prime's already said that, he's got a first-round ability. We talk a lot about, how his body is really suited to play the position, the length that he has in his arms especially. And, it was a battle between him and Omarion a lot. Omarion won a lot, but DJ had a pick down the field against him too. Yeah. And he's really starting to look like the player that Coach Prime has said he could be, which is great because he's, a redshirt sophomore? He's really young too, so.
Yeah, looks the part for sure. You can just see the explosiveness, the ball skills, the want to and compete level, right? Like some corners will be really great at moving, and then once the ball's up, things kind of fall apart. He's not that kind of guy. He's going to be there. He's going to compete. He had a lot of snaps, and a lot was in the mix for a lot of those highlights. Yeah, you're right. Just a redshirt sophomore. He just looks the part of a guy who can play some man coverage, and again, the want to and that competitiveness, that's what you want opposite Travis Hunter.
Exactly.
Because they're going to come to you and go to you time and time again for no other reason than you're not Travis Hunter. Mm-hmm. So they like their chances going up against you than they do thrown to that side. Right. But if you're just there ready to fight and play snap after snap, good things will happen, like DJ's pick in the scrimmage. And I just like a lot of what he's shown.
You have a running back you wanted to talk about.
Yes. Give me Brandon Hood, freshman running back. He looked awesome. Yep. Really just a downhill runner. You can see how built he is. He reminds me a little of Elijah Holyfield. Remember him at Georgia? Yeah. And he'd go viral for like the shots of how huge his arms were. Yes. But just that kind of like downhill bowling ball type of runner. And as much as the run game impressed me in the scrimmage and what I was able to see, I think he was the guy that stood out to me more consistently than anyone else as being the ball carrier when good things were happening for the run game and big runs were being generated.
Yep, Dallin had some nice runs. Micah had some nice runs. Even Isaiah did. But yeah, Brandon Hood, the chat's been big on him. There's been a lot of fans. Pastor Smith, he's from that area, Brandon Hood is. So that's just one of his guys. But, kind of coming off an injury with the ACL and all that, was on his way to Georgia before he goes on that visit with his brother Colton. They both commit. He is someone that, he might not play a huge role in the season, but it's like with the work that he's going to get with his carries, like that's a name that people are going to be like, oh, watch out for this guy. Like circled him for the future.
Yeah, really impressive and just showed good patience, good vision. And I mean, I wonder how much of that is a factor of like returning from injury and not feeling like you have your full explosiveness, but just making other things work for you. I think this season's really going to pay dividends for him.
Yep. I've got another guy, a playmaker, stock way up. Actually didn't play on Friday, though, that we'll talk about here on the other side of this break. You want to shout out our friends over at UC Health, Dre?
Yes, UC Health and their awesome initiative, Ready, Set, Co. That's right. Coach Prime wants to help you and other Coloradoans, bringing up the whole state to be your healthiest selves as the chief motivation officer of UC Health's Ready, Set, Co. challenge. The goal of the challenge is to get Colorado back to its rightful place as the healthiest state. I was seeing some lists. Massachusetts ahead of Colorado. Hawaii ahead of Colorado. I'm sorry. We love Tommy Chang's offense,
Yes.
but Coach Prime is here and ready to get Colorado back up top. I love some of the titles they have for Coach Prime and his alter egos here. Nutrition Prime, which is a big one. There's also talk about, sleep, really important.
That is something that is quite important that we
Exercise.
don't rate.
Do you sleep good?
Depends. Right now I'm sleeping great.
Mostly a no. Oh, you're sleeping good. Camp got you sleeping good.
It's a stressful time, right?
Stressful time.
So it can be harder to sleep, but I'm
time.
also way more tired now because there's so much to do that
it is nice.
it does make it easier to sleep. So.
Yeah, school's back on, so I'm getting up early. So I should be more, but I don't sleep good. You sleep good, Alyssa?
Here and there.
Yeah, here and there. It's tough, man. It's tough. So that, among other things that you can all check out at uchealth.org/Ready, Set, Co. If you want to join UC Health's Ready, Set, Co. challenge, click the link in the show notes or go to uchealth.org/Ready, Set, Co.
And shout out our friends at Toyota. Toyota probably next to, the word reliable in the dictionary, basically. I mean, they've one and the same.
So true, man.
Some of the most reliable, if not the most reliable cars out there on the road. RK's RAV4, I mean, it takes us to where we need to go. It took us down to Colorado Springs on Saturday.
Wow. Scouting a little Air Force offense over there?
Yeah, maybe. We'll share our whole plan
I love it.
here pretty soon.
I
Details
love
are still
it.
getting ironed out. But yeah, shout out to Toyota. Tons of options, hybrids, sports cars, family cars, all that type of stuff. And you can visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Amazing.
The player I was talking about, though, Dre,
Yes.
stock up, who didn't play on Friday, Julian Lewis.
Let's go. What's the latest, Jake?
The latest.
I, like everyone else, want to know.
So
In fact, I try not to bother you with questions about Juju, but if you see me, I am thinking like, I wonder if he has any Juju updates.
I got you today.
Let's go.
Spoke
I
to some
love
people over the weekend, and again, it's kind of no news, but everyone's feeling really good about where things stand. As we talked about last week, if you notice the trends in how the national media is reporting on Juju, it's very reminiscent of what happened with Jordan Seaton and just like kind of keeping up the air of maybe a little bit of unpredictability, But everything coming out of CU sounds great.
Love that.
I don't have a timeline though, so don't get angry at me. Like I don't know when it's gonna happen, but a lot of people in notable and high-ranking spots are feeling really good about where they stand.
I love this. Is this other potential candidates losing traction? This is just Buffs
Yes,
and getting more details that things are moving as according to plan behind the scenes.
there are some things that are still being worked out behind the scenes. There's a lot of conversations that are happening right now. All signs point to Colorado, though, from what I've heard. And yeah, I mean, if you go look and see what some of these other schools are doing, USC's looking at other quarterbacks. Auburn's practically already dropped out. They're looking at other quarterbacks. They're trying to flip Deuce Knight.
Sad.
And Indiana, they kind of loom right now, but
Indiana.
There you go.
Get serious, Indiana, to play basketball? He's playing basketball this year? I thought we were talking CU football.
I don't know.
Indiana, come on. That's a joke. Well, that's exciting stuff.
Yes. Sticking with quarterbacks, though, we got some Big 12 quarterback news today. A couple starters have been announced.
Love that.
We'll start with the one that's less notable. Arizona State has named a quarterback, Sam Leavitt, coming in from Michigan State through the portal, is going to be their starter this season.
Yeah, not a ton of track record for him, but there's some 4-star pedigree. Mm-hmm. And you gave me maybe the most important statistical news of all.
Yeah.
With this new quarterback. It's that first week 1 starter for the Sun Devils. That's not Rocky number 5.
Since 2016, Sam Leavitt will be the first Sun Devils quarterback to start that week 1 game not wearing number 5.
Feels like a good QB history to kind of change that trend. Let's try something different.
Sure. So good for you, ASU.
Yeah,
have fun.
Good for you. I would suggest the PHNX Sun Devils doing a buy or sell segment that's called "Love It or Lev It," because I think that's really good. So
this is why this guy's just taking big bucks, man. It's unbelievable.
You can stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
The more notable one, though, is the team who's on the Buffs schedule. That's Baylor.
Yeah.
And we've kind of expected this as we've talked about Baylor over the offseason here. But Daquan Finn coming in from Toledo, officially named the starter for the Bears. Big year for the Bears. Dave Aranda, one of the hottest seats in the country right now. And he's running with Daquan Finn. He's played the last 5 years at Toledo. Last year, 63% completion, 2,657 yards, 22-9 touchdown to interception ratio. Also, a little bit of work on the ground. Had 123 carries, 563 yards, and 7 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
So a dual threat.
Dual threat time.
There's going to be multiple of those in the Big 12, obviously. And
Indeed.
So there you go. There's a little bit of knowledge heading into that homecoming game against Baylor. I think week 4 that game is.
Love it.
That's about it.
Yeah, that'll be can't wait for this season to start, man.
10 days away, Dre.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Tomorrow we hit the single-digit point of the offseason.
That really is amazing.
Unbelievable. The AP Preseason All-American team came out today as well. The Buffs do have a first-team All-American player.
Yeah.
It is Travis Hunter, and he is still not being put in a position. He's just at all-purpose, which is a cop-out.
Yeah, I mean, for starters, he should be on the defensive side, if anything, from what we've seen to this point. And you were telling me the 2 corners on the first team, they're Will Johnson, Denzel Burke. Denzel Burke, I really don't know what we're doing. Great corner, but not what Travis Hunter did. And yeah, the all-purpose is just a cop-out. All these first-team All-American teams, they're just the same.
They really are. Every single time.
It's so boring. It's such a snooze fest.
Yep.
And they're still doing the 2 running backs. They don't even give you a center or a guard. It's just like 5 best offensive tackles that everyone's heard of. It's so bad, man. We have all summer. Grind some tape. Give me a good list. When we did All-American teams on the draft pod, they were fun. Everyone has a different list.
Right.
It's different names. It's not the same old.
Yep.
Do that, AP. Like, these guys, man.
It's crazy, but good for Travis. He makes it again, 2nd straight year, being an AP Preseason All-American. But
was he corner last year?
No, he was all-purpose last year.
What is that even?
I don't put the man at a position. I don't know.
What's that even supposed to mean? There's no position on a football roster that's all-purpose. That's the Percy Harvin, Tavon Austin spot?
I guess.
But it's my speed guy who also can return the ball once in a while?
So wide receivers were Luther Burden, Teteroa McMillan, and Emeka Egbuka. All great players, but
Egbuka, once he had
500 yards last year.
He didn't do anything.
And he's got a quarterback who got replaced at Kansas State now.
Right.
Who's also been named the starter, by the way. I don't think we need to know that, but
Avery Johnson or Will Howard?
Will Howard.
Will Howard.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the cornerbacks are Will Johnson and Denzel Burke. We do have...
I just feel like our people deserve a more elevated conversation than first team all-purpose.
They do, and Travis deserves it as well.
I agree.
We do have some... Alyssa, I sent you a tweet in Buffs assignments. If you could pull up the image. Speed numbers are back for the Buffs.
Let's go, baby.
This was one of my favorite pieces of info that we got throughout the offseason last year. We haven't gotten stuff like this quite as much, but they are still doing a lot of this, heavy analytic, really like sports science-y type of stuff at practice.
You love it.
Just to gauge the progress of the guys. And we have some recent speed numbers. I believe these were like Thursday or so that they came out last week. But there you go. If you could zoom in on those, it's a little bit hard to read if you're watching on YouTube here. But in the trenches, Torian Carter, 15.7 miles an hour. That's one of your biggest defensive linemen.
Not bad at all.
Amari McNeil hit 14.8. We're all pretty excited about him and the jump that he could make year over year from last year.
Yeah, for sure.
In combo, which is linebackers, running backs, tight ends.
Okay.
Dallin Hayden with 19 miles an hour.
That's great.
That's
I thought
awesome.
Dallin also stood out in the scrimmage.
Yep,
he looked pretty good there.
Johnny
he just
Chaney.
looked so built.
Dallin?
Dallin.
That was my big takeaway when I did that film room. He's kind of just well-rounded in all areas.
Built. Yeah, a lot of what I said about Timmons, just looking the part, looking like a pro, how refined he is, could honestly just copy-paste it to my impressions of Dallin Hayden.
Yep. Johnny Chaney, the chainsaw on the defensive side of the ball, hitting 18.6 miles an hour. And then at the skill positions, wide receivers, cornerbacks, Jimmy Horn Jr., I believe that says 20.6 miles per hour. And then Cordell Russell, Baby T.O., hitting 20.3. And we saw him, you saw him well off too. Another big catch down the sideline from him, showing off that size-speed combination. And boy, you just wonder about his future at Colorado. With Shador, obviously, this year, but potentially Juju in the future, whoever it is at quarterback, he's going to be a factor in the near future.
You know what I love about those numbers? They're in ranges that I can believe.
Yes.
A lot of these programs, they'd cook those times and give you 2 miles higher, and anyone else would run with it. Like those AP writers that put up that lazy All-American team, they just run with it. But ball knowers like us would be like, those seem a little cooked. Those I know are for real, though.
Yes.
Those are fast times, man.
They are.
Touching 20 miles per hour, that's crazy. And I like the D-line times. That's really impressive.
I mean, look, Russell's listed at 6'4", 210, and he's one of the fastest wide receivers on the team.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Also, those times also highlight the athleticism and depth of this team.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of those names aren't guys who are super high on the depth chart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how much Russell we're going to see this year. But I'm sure he's going to get in the game every now and then, and he's obviously got big play potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy and Dallin, they're running with the ones. The other guys, they're kind of in the mix.
Mm-hmm. Torian will play. Amari will play. Dallin will obviously play, but yeah. There was a good comment above, someone talking about Amari's speed because from Cam right there, someone should send Amari's number to NCAA so they can update his speed now. Send it to EA because he feels like he's been disrespected with his speed, but now he's got the numbers to back it up, prove it.
EA. Yeah. At least they're trying, At least they're trying. I'll give them that. I can't just hate on everyone in the industry. EA, I give you credit. Okay, you can't get them all right. I get it.
Thank you, Dre. We appreciate your service. Letting people know. All right, let's take another break here. And shout out our friends over at Bet365.
Bet365, where our guy was so hyped after Sunday night's Broncos game that you went and placed a nice little parlay, huh?
I did. The second that it was announced the Broncos starters were taken out last night and Bo Nix left the field, I opened Bet365, put in a little bit of money, and I put together Broncos over 5.5 season wins, Buffs over 5.5 season wins. Put them together, it's around plus 190, 200-ish.
Oh, you love to see it.
I'll get the full number here for you if you want to.
It's that time, folks. It's that time to get on Bet365 and start placing all your futures bets. Start getting hyped about the season. Placing some money, you know. Put your money where your heart is. That's what they say, right? At Bet365, you can. Of course, the only place you can use our code, DNVR365. The only place you can find DNVR custom bets with Nux on the cover and awesome boosted odds. And also, amazing offers right now at sign up. If you haven't already, now is a perfect time. Sign up using our code. First bet you place, $5 or more. As soon as it's settled, win, lose, or draw $150 in bonus bets in your account to play with. And get your futures in, get your week 1 bets in, you name it. And then, of course, they will also match your first bet up to $1,000 if that doesn't hit. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Plus 243 is the odds on that.
See,
parlay.
that's nice. That's nice. Plus 190, the people were like, plus 240. Now that gets people hyped right there, Jake.
You know what else gets the people hyped?
Yeah, lay it on me.
Our great friends at Circle K.
Let's go.
Circle K, I'm doing it once again. I am pleading you. Help us out here over on the corner of Colfax and York.
We need it.
There's some
so
nice
bad.
space across
We need it
Colfax
so
there.
bad.
You could go one street, further east. There's another location there. Like, we need some help. I just want to go into Circle K, get my snacks, get my gas close to the studio. I don't feel like that's too big of an ask, but
It'd be like if we could just walk a block and get some Polar Pops for 79 cents.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be the meme, like the world if,
Yes.
the
whatever. Utopia.
Right, the utopian world. That would be, if we had a Circle K next door, it would be that utopian world.
But Circle K is the best place to get all your snacks, gas, drinks, whatever else you may need on the road. And you can sign up for their Inner Circle membership program. You can visit the link in our description or just go to circlek.com/inner-circle for more info on how to become an Inner Circle member. Tons of discounts on food, gas, every 5th item's free. I think you get 20 cents off your first 5 fill-ups over there. So
straight up dreamland.
Yep.
And hard transition. I don't know what they're talking about in the chat.
Chat, are we being
I think
nice?
they're maybe touching on porn bans in Texas,
Oh,
but
no.
that's just, I don't. You guys are always on one. It's a beautiful thing.
As long as you guys aren't fighting, be nice to each
Also,
other.
my guy set out a goal of 250 likes for the show. 350.
350.
Shit, I got it wrong. So I was going to say we're almost there, but we're actually drastically short.
Well, we've got time, so hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the pod wherever you're listening as well.
That's right.
All right. You guys asked for this, so we're going to do it. Update on the Pro Buffs.
That's right. Get ready for it. You asked for it.
And there's one notable guy. There was a notable guy when we were doing Pro Day in April. And there's one notable guy right now who is really balling out and is really pushing for a roster spot. And that is Xavier Weaver, former Colorado wide receiver. And, man, he really kind of had a game. I can't remember when they played, Sunday or Saturday, but against the Colts this weekend, he made his case. He led the team in receiving, tied for the team lead in receiving, and was the most effective kick returner, man. With those new kick return rules, he had a 37-yard return.
That's huge.
2 catches for 27 yards, a nice grab along the sideline, some nice footwork to stay in bounds. But, man, he comes into camp, he's wearing like the number 30 jersey, obviously terrible for a wide receiver.
Yeah.
They just drafted Marvin Harrison Jr., one of the best wide receiver prospects we've seen in a while coming out of the draft. And, it seemed like the odds maybe stacked against him going into this camp, dealing with the shoulder injury, all that as well. And he is just still balling out. Reports are he is in great contention to make this roster, though.
Well, he's making it happen, and the special teams contribution is absolutely massive. Also, 13.5 yards per catch is really nice for him. And he's just looked the part. And you've kind of been bullish on the fact that he has a real opportunity here with kind of how that wide receiver room's shaking up. And he really showed out in game 2. And I think game 3, for guys on the bubble, that's where it's really going to be a huge opportunity for him. And with these, extended practice squads and more variance on the rules there, I think Zay has a real shot at least being on the Cards practice squad. Mm-hmm. And, the way it works out in the NFL with that 53-man roster, you are dipping into your practice squad, and almost all of those guys are going to play eventually during the regular season. And then if he's this type of special teams contributor, he just might make the 53.
Yep.
Which would be crazy given how the draft process and draft panned out for him, but not that crazy knowing who Zay is.
Exactly. And I think his return ability was one of the most underrated aspects of his game.
No kidding.
Like last year, he had some really awesome punt returns that, the ASU game, that was a big punt return that put the Buffs in scoring position. Mm-hmm. They were kind of struggling down the stretch in that game, and it was plays like that, the Shador bomb to Antonio. Like, there's a lot that happened in that game to pull out that win, and it was Zay was a big part of that. Looking at the Our Lads depth chart for Colorado or for Arizona, though, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, who come second year out of Stanford, a guy that I liked at least. Greg Dortch, he's made some plays.
Yeah.
But then you get into guys like Zay Jones, Zach Pascal, who have been in the NFL for almost too long, it feels like at this point. Chris Moore is a name on there too. And then you get into the guys like Zay Weaver and the bottom, the rest of the wide receivers. Why can't Zay be a top 5 target on this team?
100%. Even the 2 and 3 you mentioned, like, you can like Michael Wilson, but we're not talking about someone whose career or status as a prospect in the same conference they played in last year was, I would see them in a similar tier, Mm-hmm. And then Dortch is a veteran, but Zay can replicate a lot of those things Dortch brings to the table and has a little more size.
Yep. That's a great point by Jermaine there in the comments. Coach Prime always, preaches a lot of things, but to his players at practice, it's all about the importance of special teams, the importance of effort, the importance of want to. And I think Zay, really exemplified that last year, showing that, I'm not only going to be the X receiver, the number 1 target on the outside, but I will go return punts for you. Like, I will play just as hard as I will on offense as I will on special teams. And
it's so key.
That's why he's in the spot he's in right now and why we're talking about him today.
It's so key. It's why guys in the comments are referencing Terrell Davis's breakout on special teams. I remember when I was texting with Austin Eckler while he was on the bubble for the Chargers his rookie season, and special teams was just a huge part of how he made that roster. It really is massive. And it's also massive how we're still figuring out these kick returns, right? So someone who's adjusting and looking good in that format, that's a pretty precious commodity to have right now.
No doubt, man. I actually have really liked the new returns.
It's not bad.
Bro, we need to have returns in the game. Like, the direction we were going.
Yeah, we have to go back to having returns.
It was not sustainable. And look, I've always thought that the emphasis on player safety, a lot of people don't like it. Like, oh, you're taking away old school football. And I get some of that, but I'd like to be watching football for the rest of my life. I don't want to see this game deteriorate and go down. So I'd like to see them protecting the players and trying these new things to kind of, extend the shelf life of the game and extend the shelf life of these players as well.
100%. And more entertainment all at the same time.
Yep. Next guy, Derek McClendon, had a great preseason week 1 game against the Patriots. He was generating pressure. He had a sack. He had another quarterback hit as well. He played,
which is huge for your first appearance as a
making a statement.
Pro. Yeah.
He had 2 tackles yesterday against the Jets, or this weekend against the Jets.
Yeah.
But I don't have the name right now, and maybe I can find it. But the Panthers did cut a veteran defensive lineman that they had, and it just leaves you another, spot, more room for these young guys like Derek McClendon to go out there, ball out in
100%.
This big week 3 preseason game that's going to happen this weekend and prove that they belong on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that kind of went all in on offense, traded away Brian Burns this offseason, another young edge rusher. And, I think the opportunity is huge because that Panthers defense isn't going to be very good. They just had to accept, okay, we got to go all in on offense, see what we actually have in Bryce Young. And if we have to sacrifice something on defense, so be it. Early top candidate to maybe draft Travis Hunter next year would be the Panthers because they need any sort of playmakers on defense. But yeah, McClendon, pretty nice little showing 2 weeks into the preseason. And I got to say, I'm fairly surprised because he flashed for the Buffs, but he wasn't a guy who I necessarily thought would, make a huge name for himself in the NFL. Saw some clips from the open practice that they had against the Jets, battling with Olu Fashanu, top 10 pick. So, yeah, I mean, looking like he's getting some great reps and great opportunities.
He was a pro day standout in April as well. So it's just cool to see him doing those things. And then this guy, he's not he wasn't a Buff under Coach Prime, but he was a fan favorite the last few years, and that's Brady Russell.
Yeah.
And man, he has been impressive.
He's looked so great.
Making some catches along the sideline, kind of like Zay, had a tough run, I think, in week 1 through the defense to score a touchdown. He's blocking well.
Yeah, blocking really well. He's caught 5 of 6 targets for 47 yards. Had himself a touchdown already this preseason. Just a great buff, a hardworking kid. You can see how intelligent he is. Slightly undersized tight end, right? So he has to work even harder to cut that rollout for himself. A great follow on Twitter because he's like quote tweeting his highlights and stuff and talking you through stuff. And yeah, man, I mean, a guy who toughed it out when the program was struggling and was not that great. And it's just really nice to see him have some success. And I think that Seahawks tight end room isn't going to be the hardest to break into either.
So they do have Noah Fant, Farrell Brown, and then it's a bunch of undrafted free agents and fringe guys.
Yeah, and I mean, Noah Fant and Farrell Brown aren't.
No,
they're not future Hall of Famers necessarily, So, I like his chances on that one. He's a really cool guy. Really cool to see Brady doing good.
Leonard Payne, I saw someone mention in the chat, he's still working it out with the Dolphins, had a few nice run stops. That's kind of it, though. We already know what Nate Landman's going to do. He's going to start for the Falcons at middle linebacker. Chidobe Awuzie, starting at cornerback for the Titans this year. LaVisca going to be a big piece of the return game for the Seahawks. And then it looks like Isaiah Oliver has changed to safety for the Jets. But there you go. That's your Pro Buffs update.
Nice.
We'll do another one next week because, as we said many times just now, week 3 is massive for a lot of these guys.
Huge for the bubble guys, yeah.
Yep. So, another solid performance from Zay. I think he has a great chance to not just make the practice squad, but make this roster. And if not, I think he's put enough good stuff out there that the NFL would have noticed, and some team is going to pick him up and put it. He's going to make a practice squad at the very least.
Terrific point on Zay, yeah. No, totally. I mean, I kind of talked myself into him one way or another making an NFL roster this season. Because, I mean, it all lines up. Like when you talk through all the boxes he checks, why wouldn't he?
All right, get your questions into the chat now, and we will answer them here very, very shortly.
Yeah.
But it was a chill weekend this weekend for me, Dre. You know what that means?
You had some Coors Lights.
Had some Coors Lights.
You chose chill.
I chose chill. It was a fun time down at the DNVR bar. I actually came here to hang out on Saturday night just to have dinner with someone. And then there was a Rapids party going on here, and it was crazy. How about those PIDs, too, by the way?
I know. Yeah, penalty shootouts goes down to the goalies. Wow. That's a night right there.
Yep. We had a bunch of people here chilling at the DNVR bar, drinking some Coors Light. We've got the Silver Bullets. We got the Stubby banquet beer bottles as well. And, of course, we have it on draft. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get it delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Damn straight. And it's the Buff Show, and we need to tell you, for starters, go check out Buffs tailgates that are open and going to be lit all fall long. Hang with the DNVR Buffs crew, obviously. Some delicious beer offering, rotating food selection, music, yard games, and more. Those were off the hook last year and will continue to be always upping our game on that. And come this weekend for week 0 at the bar.
Yes.
You must RSVP to be eligible for some crazy ticket giveaways. We are giving away 8 pairs of tickets to the home opener against North Dakota State, all while you can come to the DNVR bar, check out Jake and RK, presumably.
He will be
doing
here.
a live show from the bar, and then being able to just hang out and watch the first week of college football while being eligible to win some amazing tickets for the season opener. All of that info at thednvr.com/events to get in on the fun. And then, yeah, it's all timed around the FSU Georgia Tech game. So, it's kind of, we're putting out the bat symbol to all you ball knowers. Now's your chance.
Yep.
This really is our hope with DNVR events, is that we're putting events together that are cool, that benefit this awesome community, that cater to diehard fans, and that we can kind of leverage our connections to make that happen, right? We're not just looking for some dumb money grab that's going to make you guys hate us because we overpromised and undersold. We're kind of hoping to do the opposite. So it's a really cool just watch party for week 0, but then you have this added caveat of being able to watch the pod and being able to win some tickets. So check it out and RSVP at thednvr.com/events.
Yep, Saturday's going to be fun. I did the Broncos pre and post yesterday.
He did.
And I was actually kind of bummed about it because it meant I didn't get to go to our wonderful tailgate over at Mile High. And I'll be there a lot on Sundays. So Bronco fans in the area, come hang out at those tailgates. We'll be there.
That one was lit. Just $10. Got another one this Sunday. I mean, it's tailgate season.
I'll be there this Sunday.
It's in the air. It's just the sounds of football, and it's like fall already.
It's so good.
It really is wonderful.
Also, a little bit of housekeeping. Tomorrow, I apologize, guys. Do not be upset. There will not be a show tomorrow.
No.
I know. Look.
I know. It was going to be like me and Alyssa.
Yeah.
Those were the prospects we were looking at.
Yeah, scheduling just flat out didn't work out for tomorrow. So we will have practice content for you guys on our YouTube page, but there will be no show tomorrow. We'll be back on Wednesday. And then, as you said, with that Saturday show, that will be our 5th show this week.
Week 0 special.
Come hang out with us on Saturday morning. We will be live.
Do one of those.
What?
That?
What's that?
Well, it's used universally. It's an O, so Oregon fans will use it. I remember USC fans doing this when Coach O was an interim, and they wanted Coach O to say, in retrospect, they were correct. But it's versatile. In this case, it's a 0 for week 0.
Okay.
So
I get it now.
there you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm throwing up the 0. Not many would, but guys, 315 likes. So we're almost at our goal of 350. Hopefully you can get me there, because Jake has told me privately he will take me out the back and shoot me like Old Yeller if we don't reach that. So
That is not what I said.
I'm really hoping this works out and you can come through for me. I'd love you for it, but I love you even if you don't. Okay, it's it's my time, it's my time. No problems.
Oh my Lord. Let's get to questions. What do you guys got today? And fire away. Eric asks, thoughts on North Dakota State's radio hosts already talking really spicy. They just have no idea. I didn't put it in the rundown today because it's just like they just straight up don't know.
Do you want to give me some highlights on the things that sounded most incorrect that these people are saying?
Let me find it. One of the points that was really driven home by people from this thing was they were mentioning like a ranking, and they said like C was ranked 51st or something on some ranking, and they go, "Oh, that's way too high." So they just have no clue. They don't get it. Which it is what it is.
It's kind of shocking how little people know about this program and how much people just buy into the kind of clickbait and misinformation or like just lazy narratives that have been created. I mean, it's kind of changed my ability to even consume college football media.
I mean,
it's like if they're so wrong about the Buffs, how could they be right about anything?
It's hard to try and cover 130 plus teams, and then
it's hard. Those national jobs are really tough.
Well, I'm just saying, like
no shade. No shade.
Like I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but it's like they just don't know, and it is what it is. They will know. They'll get to see firsthand, and they're
gonna find out.
They'll probably be some of the first converted believers of the season because they're gonna see that up close and personal.
Those guys wouldn't like our North Dakota State preview.
No,
where we called them tiny and talked about how you can run on them and all this stuff, and athletic on the outside.
And then, of course, the people who come in the comments after the show because I called the head coach by the wrong name once and all this stuff. Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah.
As in retrospect, though, as just a way to disrespect them, genius move.
True.
I love that about you.
True. What's up, Clint? Has anybody seen Connor Johnson, Jake? Has your beef brother been here? Connor's been popping in still. He's been hanging out every now and then. He's been letting us know how much of a mistake CU made by going to the Big 12, which thanks, Connor.
Oh, man.
What's up, Artemis?
He's like the kid left on a sinking boat who's like, man, you guys really screwed up by abandoning shit.
Yeah. Yeah, this water feels nice. Artemis wants to know from you, Dre, what should he bring back from Italy, and which outlet mall should he go to when in Italy? Great question.
Artemis, this is such a great question. You know, a lot of times, Artemis, it's fun to just get lost in a supermarket, in a dollar store, in a little Chinese grocery market. You know, you might not find the most quality stuff, but just see what's available, kind of the prices. I find stuff to be quite a bit cheaper in Italy on the knick-knack front. And then I'd go like, don't go to a mall like in a big center and like a fancy building. Find me like a real mall, a bit out on the burbs, and let's do some fun shopping. Now sale season in Italy, so you can strike when the iron's hot. OVS is a fun one. My wife really likes Desigual, which I guess is way cheaper in Italy than it is in the States. I think that's about all I can do for you on the shopping front. I grew up in the fashion capital of the world.
Yep.
And I rebelled and dressed anti-fashionable. So, bit of a mixed bag. Ball is what I dedicated my life to. So
hell yeah. Who's next? What's up, Ricky? What is the overall vibe / morale going into week 1 versus NDSU? Morale is high. And I don't know. I've put out Colorado versus everyone like on Twitter and stuff. Kind of like an us against the world type thing. I don't really think that's a big feeling amongst the pro. I do think they do feel that in many ways, but I honestly feel the feeling in Boulder is just business as usual. Like we got work to do. Like I think they are so focused on building this team, improving on last year, and in some ways still proving people wrong who doubt them, that it's not the outside noise, I think, is really kind of blocked out really well in Boulder.
Yeah. And I mean, I think they're such, starting with coach, highly competitive, motivated people.
Yes.
Who just don't accept success, don't accept losing, that they don't really need any outside motivation. Their want and desire to be great, starting with coach, is all they need to be their driving force. They understand the goal at hand.
Exactly. I mean, NFL scouts showing up all the time at practice. Like, they're constantly in the spotlight for the NFL and stuff. So
yeah, it's giving them the talk on the NFL on Friday or whenever that stuff's from and well off. Yeah, I mean, they've eyes on the prize big time.
Yeah, so, I think the team feels great right now, but good question. Dud asked, is Game Time a good option to get tickets for UCF game? Absolutely. Just make sure if you haven't signed up yet, use that promo code BUFFS, BUFFS. You'll get $20 off that first purchase. But, I've heard that game is pretty close to selling out. The CSU game in a similar situation. If you're trying to come up to Fort Collins for that game, hit up our friends over at Game Time. Really, any Buffs game this year, Game Time is your best option. So,
I shouldn't. But... I get in trouble with my wife for saying things I shouldn't say all the time. But on the Game Time app, if you look up Colorado State games, very well-priced games. And then there's one that you wouldn't believe how bonkers the prices are.
Coach Prime effect.
Truly, truly, truly.
Nicholas asks, are y'all going to any practices this week? Like watching practices? Probably not. But we will have people at practice tomorrow to capture video and upload it for you guys. And then later in the week, I'm sure we'll get another day. I don't think I have a schedule yet, though. So
I guess tune in all week and find out, Nicholas.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun one.
I think practice is tomorrow. That's what I've heard. Again, I don't have a schedule, though.
Have you heard this quote? This Gundy quote that Eric references here?
I saw some of it. I didn't hear the quote. Do you know it, though? No. Eric asked thoughts on Mike Gundy telling players stop asking for more money. Do you have an official quote on this?
Oh, okay. I'm seeing it right here.
Like, I see Mike Gundy videos on my timeline, bro, and I'm just like, all right. Like,
yeah,
whatever.
I mean, he's crazy. This is also why, while he's a good football coach and a good offensive mind, a pretty good program builder, anytime it's time for like a Florida or like a step up to come a calling, they won't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Mm-hmm.
He's crazy. And we love him for it. Great content. Okay. The business side of what we do now is we have to have those conversations with them, he said. Tell your agent to quit calling us and ask for more money. It's non-negotiable now. Start again in December. What a legend.
Well, when players start leaving Oklahoma State this offseason, you have a reason to point to. They're not getting paid over there.
Right. But would it help you if I told you he's done the math and he's driven with that many beers in him, like what Ollie Gordon got pulled over for many times? Would that reassure you and make you feel like things are better in Cowboy Land or less better?
Business as usual is what I would say.
They're not paying players, have their agents call us in December, and he couldn't believe it, but he's done that many times before. So there you go. What a legend.
Mr. Gray asked, Coach Sapp aside, who's your favorite coaching staff hire? Good question. Still a big fan of Robert Livingston. And I think that's a name that kind of like what we talked about in the first segment. That's a name that nationally, I think after these edge rushers, especially in the secondary and the way that they're going to complement each other, they go out and ball out this year. I think you're going to hear a lot about Robert Livingston after this season.
For sure. I mean, I enjoy the two coordinator hires, you know.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, this coaching staff's awesome. I don't know how many times I've said that, but they're just great people, man. They're great to talk to. Coach Hart's amazing. Talked to Coach Lodholt briefly. He's really cool. Haven't been able to talk to Coach Lewis yet, but of course, when we talked to Sapp at the Super Bowl and all, Jay Phil was great last week as well. Yeah, we're lucky. Sean asked, would y'all consider doing a DNVR Buffs fans fantasy football league? See y'all next week. #ScoBuffs. That's a great idea, Sean.
And also, Sean, that may already exist. Becoming a DNVR member on our website. We have a Discord that has a Buffs channel, and there's a ton of us in a bunch of fantasy leagues all together with each other. So that is a great way to connect with people and kind of start that up. But yeah, that'd be a really fun idea.
DM me, Sean. We can talk about it and we can set something up. The thing is that if I put a tweet out, there'd be 40 people who'd want to join, and it's only 12, 14 team leagues. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
we can figure something out, though.
Yeah.
And then finally, a super chat from my guy, East Coast Kev. I'm sick of the Juju news. There'll be plenty of quarterbacks in the portal next year. Don't be surprised if Arch Manning jumps to Colorado. Manning/Sanders family collaboration. Be patient with Julian, guys.
Arch.
Be patient
stay
with Julian.
patient. You want to be the patient fan base, okay? Long game here. Been patient before. You know how this goes. Stay patient. Keep the vibes up. Let Juju know this is the place with the good vibes, okay?
Yes.
All those other places, trash vibes. Here, great vibes.
That's it.
Love it.
Good stuff today. We hit our goal, but still hit that like button on the way out.
Yeah. Praise be.
We get
Praise
to live
be.
another
Wow,
day.
amazing.
Yeah.
Have fun moving tomorrow, man.
Oh,
Send our
geez,
guy
please.
best wishes. I mean, if I was him, I would have used my celebrity poll. I'd be like, moving tomorrow, who can help? But not this guy, man. Just him and his bro. Head down, working in the heat. It's how they were raised. They won't ever change.
Yes. So for the record, I'm not taking tomorrow off to like what the chat was saying, smoke weed and just go hang out and do whatever. Like, I really wish I could work tomorrow, honestly.
Right.
I'm not looking forward to the next 36 hours or so.
Moving's a tough time.
It's the worst
Tough
thing
time.
I think a human could possibly do.
Didn't really have a day off this weekend either, so I think you're due for one, but not Tuesday, because Tuesday's moving day. So best of luck, man. I'll be thinking about you.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for coming on again, Dre. We'll be back on Wednesday. We'll see you guys then. Go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.